Shalom, everybody, and welcome to the Yishai Fleisher Show, broadcasting live from Judea to the world. You're a part of it wherever you are. Shalom, and welcome to Malkah Fleisher. Malkah.
Hello. Shalom. Hi. Howdy.
Shalom, and welcome. Malkah, it's a tumultuous time. We talk about that often here on the show. But
Newsflash.
That's right.
This week, it's a tumultuous time.
That's right. And it's also an exciting time. I really feel that there's like an awakening of many different kinds. There's a lot of like... I never forgot one time we were living on the Mount of Olives and we were in the parking lot area and I was speaking with a Rabbi Yaakov, and he said something to me that I'll never forget. I don't know how we led to this conversation, but he said to me that Rabbi Cook says that the reason prophets write Jewish history is because it's very hard to tell what the central theme. What's the word I'm looking for? Like a river,
ethos, energy, current.
A current. Yes. What is the current of the time? What is the major river that flows in any particular time? And he says, but the prophet, since he's got God's vision, can see what the central thing is. Like you can live in a generation, you think this is a good generation. This is a generation that loves God, but God's like actually in the hearts of people that's not like that. Like. My point is, you don't really know what is in the heart of a generation. We're living in a time where there's so many contravailing energies that are striking us at the same time. Before we get into that, I just want to say this week's Torah portion is Kitisa. It is one of the Torah portions that, in my mind, it's like a movie. It's like, I want to watch this Torah portion. I want to talk about it with the kids, and I want to live it as much as possible. Malkah, we got the golden calf. We got the splitting of the Ten Commandments. I want you to make
the breaking
of splitting of the Red Sea.
It was a bad
It's a little
dystopian
That's
movie.
right.
If we're watching a movie,
well, it is dystopian, and yet don't forget that we also get Bezalel and Oholiav to start building the tabernacle. So it
ends well,
and there's also Moses' glowing face in this week's Torah portion. You know, because because of the break, he goes back up to
redo
and kind of have a face to face with God, and as he comes down from the face to face, his face is glowing. So my challenge to you, Malkah, is
you got a spiritual sunburn,
spiritual
suntan.
Suntan, yeah, he had a spiritual suntan. That's what I say when I come off the Temple Mount, right? I always say that I got a spiritual suntan. So my challenge to you, Malkah, is to make a theme for this Shabbat.
We'll eat some beef.
Beef
for the
beef is
golden
good.
Calf.
Yes.
Yeah. See that?
Okay, beef is good. All right, fine. But like, can you make a glowing face thing of some kind?
A glowing face. I'll have to think about that.
Yeah. Is
there some like nice radioactive fish?
No, but like, can there be, or for example, can we have a cake of some kind with maybe like a face that's glowing or something like that? I don't know, or I don't know.
I'll put Leah on that.
Yeah, Leah, she's good at that.
Or like broken tablets.
Can we sprinkle broken tablets over something?
Broken tablets of what? Our meal is going to be a little gross.
No.
Let's see. Little cement particles.
Or maybe. So yeah, Malkah, I just want us to have some way to have this Shabbat feel like the themes come out, and people can send us their theme ideas if they would. That would be awesome. But I want especially the glowing face of Moses. I just think that the idea of a man whose face is aglow because he got close to God.
I feel like you should put on some kind of like glow in the dark face paint for Shabbat.
Or maybe you'll put on some eyeliner.
Little
like
golden
eyeliner?
Golden sparkly.
Wait, maybe can you buy those shake 'em up chemical sticks that light up?
Oh, and just like spray them all over myself and just have that on my skin?
No, I was not saying that. I didn't mean that, but I just meant glow.
Oh, glow sticks.
Glow sticks, that's what I meant.
Okay.
So if you have any ideas about how to make this Shabbat really bespeak of glowing Moses' face, that whole thing, write me an email, yishai@yishaifleisher.com. And Malkah, I want you to know that people around the world do write me emails and with these kind of suggestions. And we got actually a great email from Elaine.
You guys got to know that we love your emails. We love to get emails.
That's right.
You might think to yourself, gosh, the Fleischers, they're so busy.
They're too busy to read my email.
I'm just a little person somewhere. I'm not going to send them my email. False. Wrong thought. You guys are huge and amazing, and we love to get your email, and we totally have time to read your email.
That's right.
We're just twiddling our thumbs over here.
Yes, and by the way, I also want to recognize Vicky, who writes me a lot of good emails, a lot of very interesting emails and thought-provoking emails. Thank you very much, Vicky. Krista, that's right, and many other good folks. There are many folks right there, but let's read Elaine's email. She writes, Shalom, Yishai. I really enjoyed last week's podcast. You covered a lot of topics that I'm interested in. The email you read from Rachel...
the mother of Zephaniah.
That's right, the mother
or as he prefers to be known as Zephaniah.
Zephaniah, God bless his little heart.
We see you out there, little man.
That's right, and he said hi to us in a little video, which was awesome. Elaine says, the email you read from Rachel hit close to home. I've been listening to your podcast on the Land of Israel Network for many years. I'm not Jewish, but try to keep Shabbat the best that I'm able. I've been reading the Torah portion weekly for the last 14 years.
Wow.
And that's what I'm saying to you. The Torah portion is what people want to live with. And that's our job.
And you got these incredible people all around the world.
Right. And that's our job as part of the and shapers of the International Torah Congregation. That's the name we came up with. And
that could be good.
I asked other people to send me an alternative.
That's for non-Jews who want to adhere themselves to the Torah.
Right. They're internationals, International Torah Congregation. And they may have other identities as well, but they could say, yeah, but I'm part of the International Torah Congregation. Oh, somebody suggested biblical Zionism.
Okay, that exists. We've
Jeremy Gimpel used to use that.
Kind of like religious Zionism.
Right, but
it's a more biblical.
First thing I like the
emphasis.
word. I think the word international, and my friends the Wallers also like the name international. I think that's.
Or how about the worldwide
Torah Congregation?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think International Torah Congregation. Worldwide sounds a little too www. That's too.
Well, you guys can let us know. Write us an email.
Right.
YishaiFleisher.com.
And
you could vote. We should put up a poll.
A friend from Texas recommended the International Tanakh Congregation, but Tanakh is too hard to say. It's very Tanachis of you, okay? but that's a little too hard. But anyway, the name is secondary to what it really is, which is that people around the world want to connect to even the Torah portion. This week, Kitisa, and I want to hear other people's ideas about how to light up this Torah portion in terms of the meals and things and how to make the kids feel interactive. So Malkah, if you're going to, wear some glow sticks.
I don't want to wear glow sticks.
Put a glow stick under your
under my
kerchief.
my mitpachat?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. I want you to come out,
What about you?
I will do whatever you say. So here we go. So she says
that's always a good answer.
She says as we said, I'm not Jewish, but I try to keep the Shabbat, and I've been reading the Torah portion. I've been getting amazing wisdom from sages such as Shlomo Katz, Rabbi Winston Pinchas Winston, and Sarah Yocheved Rigler.
Awesome, great sources.
Right, who I don't know Sarah Yocheved personally. I know the rest, but
she's written a lot of incredible books.
Yeah, she's awesome. I'm also a member of the Land of Israel Fellowship. I've been following Avi Abelo, our good friend, who actually ate with us last Shabbat. Since I heard him announce the death of Ari Fuld, Alav Shalom, the murder of Ari Fuld, I had followed Ari before his death. I picked grapes with Hayovil in 2017 and think some of the best times of my life were those Shabbats that I spent on Har Bracha. I feel like we run in the same circles, but I only know you guys virtually. I would like to return to the Land of Israel, but I'm not sure when that will be. As I have not taken the vaccine. I try not to follow way too many podcasts. I try to follow way too many podcasts to listen to with my busy schedule, but yours is on the short list of must-listen-to shows. I don't mind if it goes too long, as many times I listen over several days. Shalom from Western Colorado.
Beautiful.
That is awesome. What a great feeling that is. And I want to tell you...
Not vaccinated, eh?
Yeah, I want to tell you, Elaine...
And that means that she can't come to Israel.
Oof.
Can't get on a plane.
That is not freedom of movement. That's not right. That's just in my opinion, that's not right. Especially here in Israel, by the way, if you've had COVID, that counts for something also.
Right.
It's like I'm recovering. I don't need a vaccine if my body's going to develop natural immunity, natural antibodies. It's like here's a simple comparison.
They do recommend that you get a vaccine.
Okay, but there's also studies that show that the immunity that you develop after getting COVID is strong. But the truth is,
right, that's not on our pay grade.
I don't want to recommend or not recommend a vaccine. That's not my bag. What I want to recommend is choice and freedom to choose. And
if you think the vaccine is a good choice, then you should definitely be able to choose that.
Right. And if you think it's not a good choice,
if you think that the vaccine is not a good choice, you should definitely be able to choose not to do that.
Right. And for a good choice, you need good transparency. Of is this good? Is this not good? Is this good for me?
Freedom of information.
Right.
Freedom to discuss.
Right.
Not to get banned. Not to get canceled.
And not to get shunned.
Not to get in Israel surveilled.
Right.
Which is pretty serious.
I never knew that word as like a verb.
Yes, you can surveil.
You're right. No, you're right. I know it is, but it's like we're living in a time where that word.
And at least here in Israel, we know we're being surveilled. I don't know what's going on in other countries where they think they're not being surveilled. Maybe they are being surveilled. Who knows?
Well, I
tend to not like to think like that. I tend to like to think that, not everything is like a big, fat, evil conspiracy.
Sure. We had a fabulous time 2 days ago at the Israel Freedom Convoy. And it was really fun. I think that there was at least 20,000 cars, if not more, that jammed.
There were also buses, so you don't know how many people, for example, were on a bus.
But there are great videos of trucks coming up to Jerusalem, trucking up to Jerusalem.
And if you don't know what we're talking about, this was a movement that was inspired by the Canadians who came out from nowhere.
Right.
And just really provided food for thought to people about, not even about the vaccine. And again, I really want to say, it's not for us anyway. This is not about the vaccine. This is, and if you like the vaccine, I totally get it. And there's a lot of substance behind you to suggest that the vaccine is good. Okay? But this is not about the vaccine. This is about whether we want our government getting way up in our business, telling us where to go, when, what to wear, when we go there, how far we can be from other people, how close we can be to other people, if you have to breathe through a mask at school, at your work, whether you have to be vaccinated to go to non-medical related jobs, whether you can get on a plane or not based on what information. I sent my son to a museum yesterday with his grandmother, and he had a wonderful time. And our family is this word, machlimim. We are recovered from COVID in our family. So we have the Tav Yarok, the green passport. Or the kids have the green passport because of that. So in order to go to see archaeology in the building of the Israel Museum yesterday, he had to take his paper. And on his paper is written his name, his birthday, his national ID number, his passport number, when he was sick with COVID. And this is information that he had to show to somebody in order to go see the archaeology at the museum.
We're talking about a 10-year-old.
A 10-year-old boy had to show all this private. Now, I don't think they wrote it down. I don't even know if they asked for it. I don't know if they care, right? But the idea that you are made to be so on record about everything that you do is not something that I stand behind at all.
Right.
And the pressure that's placed on people, the pressure that's placed on parents. We went to the rally, and it was really a beautiful energy, actually. Yeah. And I saw really very little mention of the vaccine. People were much more concerned about government incursions into
overreach.
Their life.
That's right.
Right? And that was way more of the issue than the vaccine.
Wait, the reason you're making this point is because a lot of people want to denigrate such rallies by saying, "Oh, it's a bunch of anti-vax people."
It's an anti-vax rally,
right?
And a few people said this to me,
right?
A few people, including close people who know me,
right?
We're like, "Oh, this is an anti-vax. Oh, anti-vaxxers, like you bunch of freaks on the side,
right?
Right?" And it's just like, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I'm an anti-government fingers in my lifer. Okay,
right?
That's what I am. And I gave an example.
And
I made a sign.
Most of the messaging there, including your signs. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I made a sign that said, let parents decide. And that was kind of my personal message in this whole big overarching message of freedom, which is that I know so many people who vaccinated their children, who got this injection for their kids, because they couldn't take the isolations and the back and forth of the kids being in school, not in school, having to miss all kinds of activities or after school programs, not being given access to that anymore. Now, I totally get it. That makes a lot of sense to me, except we're injecting ourselves with something, even the most wonderful thing on earth, okay? We're injecting ourselves with something not based on a medical consideration, based on a concern for our freedom of movement and ability to do stuff. And I'm saying,
and that's coercive.
I think that it is wrong that people should feel that they have to inject themselves with anything in order to live normally. Now, that's not meaning to say that, like, I can understand where certain jobs might have mandated, like in hospitals or something like that. And that is also controversial. I'm sure people have different opinions about that. But I can understand that in some cases you would be obligated to get a vaccine because you're doing X, Y, and Z. You're working with the elderly. I don't know.
Right.
Okay? But like it's becoming more like Amazon. You know what I'm saying? Like there's companies that are starting to discuss forcing their employees to vaccinate.
Malkah, you have a call just tried to come through for your work. And I myself have got to pack up and run to the Knesset. I've got a meeting there, and then I'm about the Israel Biblical Highway, and then I'm off to Herzliya to speak with an Arab group that our friend Yishai set up, and then I've got a new flooring that's coming in for the tomb of Ruth and Yishai, and I had Friends Internationals volunteers coming yesterday to talk about beautification of the spring of Abraham. I did an interview for Fox Radio last night. I was so tired.
Yeah. I have to work on the Biblical Highway website today,
that Biblical Highway
and also
website.
On a pamphlet for Hebron talking about the forefathers and the mothers.
Right. We had originally Rav Mike Foyer write texts for the bios for the
and
forefathers.
I have to figure out how to make glowing food for Shabbat. Thanks so much.
Yeah. Or like sprinkles that are like the sprinkles.
Maybe
of
yellow
the broken...
sprinkles.
What?
Like yellow sprinkles.
What's
or
that
like gold glitter. I know what to do. I'm gonna sprinkle. I'm gonna get gold. Like food grade dust stuff that they put on cake. And I'm gonna sprinkle it on the challah.
But that's for the bad folks. The bad folks that drank the sprinkles.
No, that was for the shining faith.
Oh, no,
that's interesting.
There's bad sprinkles.
The bad sprinkle. We don't want to do bad sprinkles.
Like gold dust.
Yeah, that you have to eat.
Thumbs down. No, not and this week's parsha.
Yeah,
like Moshe makes.
Parsha.
No, that's not. That's not. You don't want to do that.
Ixnay on the old Gust day. Yeah. Okay.
Folks,
back to the drawing board.
Folks, I want to thank you. I want to thank you, Malkah, for joining me. And I do have to run to the Knesset. You got a million things going on. When you have a million things going on, it's important to actually walk carefully, drive carefully.
Remember where you put your keys.
Remember where you park the car. Does this ever happen to you? You're like, I'm out. Then I'm like, I am now. There's 4 floors in this building. I have no clue. I was on the phone. I don't know where I parked. I don't know.
Did that happen to you? That happened to me once, I think.
That happens to me.
It happens to you?
That's why I go look.
No, you know what I do? I jump out of the car and I take a picture.
I do that sometimes. No, that's when I go on long trips. But on short trips, I go like, okay, 4th floor, -1, blah, 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 blah. Because if I don't do it, then I could be like, and then you go, basically, you're like a seashell. You start at the top and you go around the parking lot, looking for your car. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, but everybody take your vitamins.
Yeah, take your vitamins.
Drink water.
That's right.
Breathe. Watch some comedy. Clean comedy.
Yeah, that's right. Oh,
take a walk outside.
Oh, so you just reminded me there was another issue that I want to talk about for just 2 minutes.
They'll wait. At the Knesset, they'll just wait.
I want to talk about this for 2 minutes. I want to say like this. If you're a Super Bowl fan, if you love
Super Bowl, not Super
Bowl. B-O-W-L. Bowl. Super Bowl.
My son, who did not watch.
Hold on. I'm getting to it, okay?
Okay.
If you are a Super Bowl fan.
Good job.
Then and a sports fan, then good for you. But this part may be a little
triggering.
May triggering or offensive. I don't mean it
We
to hurt
still
anybody's
like you
feelings.
so
Yeah,
much.
That's right. And I hope you still like
and
me.
respect you.
I have been for many years against professional sports. That does not mean I don't like sports. It does not mean I don't understand that there's beautiful moments in sports. It does not mean that I don't think there's great athletics in sport and that's a valuable thing in itself. I respect all that, but I don't respect where professional sports has gone. I don't respect the money involved. I think that it shows a society that's warped in its value system. And I simply, for many years, have pushed myself away from any kind of relationship to this thing. My beloved son lives in this town that we live here in Gush Etzion, and there's a lot of Americans here. And some of his friends wanted to have a party to watch the Super Bowl
At 1:30 in the morning.
at like 1:30 in the morning. And he came to me.
Starting at 1:30 in the morning.
He came to me and he said, he basically said, I'm kind of changing the words a little bit so that makes sense to you. He said, I know it's not part of our family values to watch this Super Bowl, okay? But at the same time, my friends are going to do it. There's going to be pizza. There's going to be Coke. And I don't know what to do. It's
Get
gonna be
together.
fun.
We'll cheer, together. And
Right.
it's like a
We'll
fun
discuss
atmosphere.
it. It'll be fun. I said to him, I'm not going to say no to you. He's 10. I said, I'm not going to say no to you. I would like to make it. And God put a thought in my head, which is I will incentivize for you a fun alternative. And we'll have pizza. We'll have Coke. We'll have a party in this house. We'll watch a movie. We'll have a Tanakh
we
quiz.
did a little quiz on Sefer Shmuel.
Right, in the book of Samuel. We'll have a quiz, which he's studying
Because
right
they're
now.
learning that in school.
Right, we'll have fun. You'll invite friends to have a sleepover, and there'll be prizes. That's right.
We
bought him.
did it big.
I bought him a fancy flashlight, like a
And I
fancy
got
flashlight.
him tiny little Hot Wheels.
Yeah, and so you know what, Elazar,
For him and his two friends,
Right.
who also wanted an alternative to Super Bowl, which Elazar calls Super Goal.
Super Goal,
And
whatever.
it's so cute that I cannot stop him.
Bottom line
So,
is that
Super Goal.
he had fun. He did not miss anything. And the next day, his colleagues who did watch the Super Bowl told him that there was a lot of quote unquote inappropriate content on there. And I just want to say
These are 10-year-old religious boys.
Right. I just want to say that I am that to me, the Super Bowl in a way is actually the ultimate thing that you shouldn't watch. It's the ultimate.
I don't know if it's the ultimate. There's more ultimate things than that.
No, I'm saying in terms of like if you're trying to like wean yourself off of this thing and to replace it with things of value in your life. This is a longer conversation. We simply don't have time for it today. But the point is, I was very happy, very grateful that my son was able to, and with help, was able to get away from that.
He also tried, and in fairness also to him, he really he could have just gone to the
Right.
Super Bowl party, but because we let him basically.
The one thing that
But
gave him pause.
we gave him pressure, and he also kind of relented to the pressure.
But he asked about it. Let me say
Right,
he came to me
knew
and he said,
knew it was an issue.
He came to me and said, "Listen, I'm having this struggle inside." And the one thing that gave him pause is when I said to him, "But what does Hashem want from you?" And he's like, "Hashem doesn't want me to watch it." He was honest about it. He's like, "Hashem doesn't want me to watch it," but he's a kid. But I'm happy. And look, you can agree with me or not agree with me about the Super Bowl. It's a longer conversation, which I don't have time for today. But my point to you is that there are many things in our life, many things that draw us into them. Looking in places that we're not supposed to be looking at things that we're not supposed to be looking is a big part of life today.
So
Big part. And so
wow.
when
Sometimes I think to myself, if 150 years ago, what would they think? 150 years ago, they were just trying to live. You know what I mean? Just trying to eat. But sometimes I wonder, what would they think about the challenges that our generation faces?
Yeah.
They would probably think that they were really massive. They would be like, look at them. They're eating meat multiple times a week. They're unbelievable. It's what a life. But then they would see some of the things that we also have to deal with. Some of
our struggles.
The struggles to survive spiritually, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And they'd be like, wow, those are some hard struggles.
And what I'm saying to you about the Super Bowl, we all have the Super Bowl that we have to get away from in life, whatever that thing is. And I just want to bless everybody to have the strength and incentivize for yourself and for your children, for your whatever, incentivize the good. Help the good be a winner out there, okay?
It doesn't cheapen it.
No. Quite the opposite. It actually puts a keter on it, a crown on it. And so with that, Malkah, I want to send you lots of blessings. Thank you very much for joining the show today. I want to thank the good folks that make this show happen today. First thing, it's the Israel Bible. Go to theisraelbible.com and you'll find a fabulous book, Torah, of the Tanakh. but beautifully made, a beautiful cover with beautiful writing, beautiful translation, transliteration, and great divrei Torah, specifically great points of wisdom, specifically about the land of Israel, edited by my friend and great Rabbi Tully Weiss. That's theisraelbible.com. Hey, and guess what? On the Israel Bible, you just type in the name Yishai, you get 10% off.
Nice.
I wish I could say that about like heaven. Like you get to the pearly gates,
You go Yishai,
and something. You get 10% less. Time in the other the purgatory. Whatever it is. So
the cleansing facility.
Yeah. That would be nice. That's like a Rabbi Nachman thing where he's like, "I'll pull you out of Gehenna by your payas." Of course, it's not like that.
That seems painful.
Yeah, and also till 120.
Amen. We'll probably be saying your name.
Yeah, that's right.
To get 10% off the cleaning facility.
That's right. And I want to thank all the folks of the International Torah Congregation out there. And I also want to thank Ari and Jeremy for the Land of Israel Network and the Fellowship, which is an amazing program, mostly geared, but not necessarily for Gentiles around the world. And I want to thank lovers of Israel and Jews. That's right. That's
last.
Right. Not
yes, you named us last.
Last but not least, Acharon Chaviv, we say. God bless you guys. And hey, I'm supposed to do an interview about buying property here in the land of Israel. Come on, get at it already. Don't miss the boat. Figuratively, okay? It's time to buy that property in the land of Israel. Get to it.
There's so much building going on.
There's building. There's properties for sale. Prices are going up. Come on, put your money out here. Put your money where your mouth is, and get to it.
Well, it's not just putting your money out here. It's getting your chunk.
That's right.
Get your piece of the land of Israel.
That's right. Speaking of getting your chunk, I haven't eaten yet today, and that reminds me of Prohibition pickle and some delicious salami, which now
I didn't get it last week.
You did not, but it would be nice if you got it this week.
But if I get it every week, then I want it to stay special.
Yeah, like Moses' glowing face. Don't you think that Moses' glowing face?
Maybe I'll make a
salami?
face out of salami and pickles.
We're gonna eat that anyway. Prohibition pickle. Check them out on Facebook and on Instagram. They provide Shabbat with the glory that it deserves. Period. Okay. There's our good friends at JewishPress.com that put out our show every single week and put out great content. And JNS.org, the fastest growing nationalist pro-Israel newspaper out there. JNS.org is the Yishai Fleisher show Israel podcast is going to be moving soon to being part of the JNS family. Bezrat Hashem. And of course, when we talk about family, how can we forget the mothers and the fathers, the forefathers and mothers who are buried in Hebron? They are protected by the people, the Jewish community of Hebron, which is supported by the Hebron Fund, which I have the great honor and pleasure of being part of. HebronFund.org. Support the strength of Israel through supporting Hebron. When you give tzedakah to Hebron, when you give charity to Hebron, you're giving charity to Torah learning, to Jewish protection, to feeding needy families, to helping tourism happen, to beautification of the Marat Machpelah. It's like
all
boom.
Good things.
Yeah, it's like if you don't have time to figure out everything, HebronFund.org will give you lots of strength and love. Write us an email. Thank you so much for being with us. I'm off to the Knesset. Got to get changed. Got to bust out of here, Malka. God bless you and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, you guys.
The Torah portion is Ki Tisa.
Hashem Yimachem.
That's right. More great stuff is on the show, on the podcast, if you're listening here on the podcast right now. And of course, we're going to have, I hope, a special guest, and then Table Torah later on in the show. Also, thanks to Tabitha, Yocheved, Moshe Herman, and Lou for helping the show happen. God bless you. Stay tuned, stay strong, stay connected, and shalom.
Shalom.
All right, folks, we're back here on the Yishai Fleisher show, and as I said in the last segment, the Torah portion to me is like a movie. This is like one of the most important, central, and certainly most dramatic and visual of all Torah portions, and one which, there's halacha. This one is drama. There's drama, there's emotion, and there's a face-to-face, the face-to-face between God and Moses in a few different episodes, Aaron and the people. These are big visual moments. And of course, I'm talking about the sin of the golden calf. But, we can just kind of chalk it off the golden calf. We've heard it a million times. And in fact, if you go to downtown Manhattan, you will see a golden calf, the Merrill Lynch bull, golden bull, with full accoutrements. When I first saw it, I laughed, but I realized how deep, how real the golden calf is in some kind of subconscious of the human mind. And we have these moments where it says where Aaron is facing the people, and they say to him, "Make us a god that he'll go in front of us, because this man Moses that came up with us, who brought us out of Egypt, we don't know what happened to him." The split between Moses and Aaron, the later punishment of Aaron's two sons that, according to Rashi, were killed because of this sin of the golden calf. Super dramatic, but then at the same time, like in the Hollywood movies, as big as the fight, so too the reconciliation and the love, and this moment where Moses goes back up and makes a new pair of 10 Commandments, new pair of tablets, and it comes down with that glowing face. These are concepts that are not going to be answered by but just mathematical answers, and I thought that it would be super appropriate to speak with Rabbi Shlomo Katz, author, rabbi in Efrat, musician, and really a person who is leading the spiritual charge in the Jewish people, and also bringing back some of the Torahs of Chassidut, and of course, Rav Shlomo Carlebach as well. Rabbi Shlomo Katz, shalom and welcome.
Shalom, Yishai, shalom to all the special people that are with us right now.
So there's no better parsha to come and speak to you about this. I think it's like, to me, you and this parsha are highly connected. We're sitting here in your office. There's a beautiful guitar here on the floor, a Mac computer, lots of Sfarim are around us, lots of Torah books. I heard you once talk about the broken tablets, and I just want to ask you, okay. So he comes down, Moses comes down, he sees the Jewish people in the act, caught red-handed. They're doing their thing, and he takes the God-given twin tablets of the 10 Commandments, and he smashes them. Or they get smashed by their own force, like they cannot hold the lack of holiness. But why afterwards do we carry around the smashed 10 Commandments, this remnant, this break, this moment of anger? It's like a husband and wife are in a fight. You take a snapshot of that and you magnetize it to the fridge. You do that? No, of course not. You want to let it pass. You do a reconciliation. You try to forget it, right? Why carry around the broken tablets, the luchot? You said to us, ushivrei luchot.
Right. That's the Talmud says that luchot v'shivrei luchot monachim ba'aron, that the tablets and the broken tablets were somehow both kept in the ark while we traveled, and they had to be, like you said. Great question. Why am I schlepping that trauma? It's a trauma. It's a PT. Why would I schlep the trauma with me? And it's a fascinating, heartbreaking question. We'll try to answer it with the way the Gemara, or the Talmud answers it. It says like this: from where do we know that you have to honor a zaken sheshachach talmudo, an old person that forgot the Torah that he learned? Because it says luchot v'shivrei luchot munachim ba'aron, meaning many of us at a certain point had very high peaks in our lives. Some good stuff happened, and they didn't always necessarily carry over. We didn't know how to utilize it at best, but it did exist once in our life. Mm-hmm. But then we became broken. We didn't have it anymore. Don't belittle things that you're still not able to hold on to if they once existed. Mm. I'll give you a great example. It's an unfortunate example. There's a guy in our community, where we're sitting right now. He's a genius. He's an absolute genius, professor. Guy's very smart. Used to give Torah classes here and everything. He suffers from dementia. Mm. And I think about that, what you brought up, all the time, because he can't tell you, he can't even speak now.
Right.
But that guy, that's Shivrei Luchot.
So he's the Shivrei Luchot.
And he's in the Aron too.
Right. I guess that's also maybe Acher. Maybe Acher is a little bit of
could
a Shivrei Luchot.
Could be. Elisha ben Abuya. Yeah, it could very well be.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that, forget, I think you and I, come on. Mm-hmm. We got a little Shivrei Luchos going on here.
Right.
We have the traumas, but Hashem is telling us, I think, saying, listen, that thing that you think is completely non-usable and is just a result of anger and everything, that's part of you. Right. Don't you dare say that those things are not part of the bigger. Don't say only the stuff that's complete is what God's interested in. The Kotzker Rebbe said, there's nothing as complete as a broken vessel. I want that too. In fact, in Hollywood, when we say heartbroken, we're talking about, she ripped my heart out, Brandon and Brenda, for those of you that get that 90s reference of Beverly Hills 90210. All that stuff. That's not it either. In Hollywood, that's the concept. A broken heart is one, she broke my heart. In Chassidut, in Jewish mysticism, A heart that's broken is a heart that's actually open, which is what we're trying to get to. So shivrei luchot means the moments that broke your heart, that they enabled you to feel your heart. Don't ever diminish that power. Don't ever belittle what the access it brought to you.
So that's great. So you have the broken moments, and you remember like as I remember those moments where I was in a bad place, alone, and broken.
On a plane, you shared with us a great story.
Which one?
With the food.
Oh yes, that's right. That's
You
right.
have
That's
very
right.
moments like
yes,
that. Yeah?
and there were others. I was thinking about a moment that I had, and I was in some weird bathroom, and my head was spinning, and I was like, "I'm in a bad place."
Shivrei luchot.
Yeah, and I remember that, and you're right though. By the way, now that coming back that way, I'm like, I remember that fondly in the sense that I remember that as being a step in my life that I needed to get there. Still, though, it's the word of God that was broken. It's not. Well, now that you say it, I can see that the golden calf itself is gone, but the broken tablets, that holiness that broke, that's there. I could see that. Still, though, God says, Moses basically smashes God's words, and God's like, okay, come on back, and you get a redo, what we call moed bet, but this time it's got to be a little bit different. This time I can't give it to you in that purity. You're going to have to chisel them out yourself. Interestingly enough, the other midrashim say that through that chiseling process, Moses also became wealthy, as the psolet, the excessive stuff of the sapphire, became something that gave Moses wealth and therefore standing. But what's the difference between the luchot that are the second luchot, which are more man-made, more still godly principles, but now with man's hand more attached and attuned to it?
You probably heard this answer before, but I think you just answered your own question. How so? Because with the first tablets, the only perception I have of being close to God is clean and probably near perfection. With the second tablets, I see I can even serve God by being a millionaire. Rabbi Nachman Breslov teaches in the 60th teaching in the Gutei Maharan. It's called Patach Rabbi Shimon. It describes that there are certain tzaddikim, that their way of serving God, certain righteous people, their way of finding a way of serving God had to come through ashirut, through being rich. And he uses that teaching. Hapsolet yeshelcha, psolecha, the remainder of the precious value of the actual luchot of the tablets. Moshe Rabbeinu was the richest person in the world. Through the second tablets, I understand, not only it's not the only way to be close to God by this pure, clean, purely godly connection, but dafka through things like money and wealth and other things that I go through in very much this world, mundane levels, dafka through that's what God's more interested in. Look, we're using right now. I have this Mac in front of me, and we have all these gadgets and everything. I think that's luchos shnios. It's like we're trying right now. We're broadcasting B'ezrat Hashem through mediums that you could say, "Oh my God, look what this does to the world." Right. That's luchot. We show that's the first tablets. That kind of perception breaks. And makom, you can't do anything with that in this world. We're living in a luchot shniot world, right? And we're elevating it through it. Please God.
Interesting. You mentioned that. Please God, John Voight, the actor, is coming to Hebron on Sunday.
Oh, beautiful.
I'm going to be spending some time with him. Beautiful. And here's a guy who's in the middle of Hollywood, and he's just fearlessly and proudly talking about God and the Abrahamic way, and now making television for it. So, you're absolutely right. There are definitely luchot and shivrei luchot. And we carry around those broken pieces as well. I asked Malkah in the last half, can we come up with any themes for the Shabbat food? Can we put any... She had this idea of putting golden sprinkles on something. I said, no, don't put golden sprinkles. No. That's bad.
Been there, done that.
Don't do that.
No.
And have you ever seen that bull in downtown Manhattan?
As you were describing it, I was like, I haven't been to New York in a while.
You get to Manhattan. It's an old one. You get to downtown, the financial district. You're walking around. I'll show you a picture of it. Yeah, so you saw the picture of the bull on the internet?
Oh my God.
Yeah. You get there, you laugh. There's certain things that are funny, like Hamas, the name of the organization. It's like, that means violent destruction in the Torah. You're calling yourself that. You are that. Or George Soros. It sounds a lot like Torah's. And this golden bull, when I first saw it, I just absolutely laughed at God's humor. But it also showed me that there's something there. There's something in the psyche of mankind. I always want to be in the boardroom where they're like in Merrill Lynch boardroom where they're like, let's make a statue like a golden bull statue. What do you guys think? And one guy's like, yeah, something's coming up in my head. I'm not sure what. Should I say it? No. Right. Tell me about the golden calf. What is this thing? The Jewish people are coming out of Egypt. They're receiving Torah at Sinai. They got this leader, Moses. I mean, the package is complete. How do you go from that to a golden God? How do you go? Like, what happens? What happened to the Jewish people, and what happens in our life? Do you think that we can relate to this golden bull?
You ever hear the term shpilkas? Shpilkas. How would you say that in English? Shpilkas.
You ants in your pants. You can't. You're always.
So
it's
some people,
a Jewish thing. It's a Jewish thing.
So some people they're on shpilkas, but it's not coming from a bad place. It's just who they are. But then you have people that things have to happen based on their calculations. And if it doesn't, that means the system is broken. I have to change it or reinvent it. Now let's go back to the Garden of Eden. The sages tell us, had Adam and Eve waited just 2 more hours, the fruit which caused them to be vanished from the Garden of Eden would have been permissible to them. Timing problems. Fast forward. Golden calf. How did that happen? We miscalculated. According to our calculations, Moses should have been down. They were off by 6 hours. They didn't understand exactly. Didn't happen right away. Boom. They're open to completely changing their fix based on their own calculation of where it has to be. Let's fast forward again because we're in the month of Adar. Purim Seuda. What was the Purim Seuda? What was that first Seuda, that feast by Achashverosh in the beginning of the story? They were celebrating the fact that based on the calculations...
The Jews went to Achashverosh's palace and had this meal that may have been kosher, but it was certainly not permissible. It was certainly licentious.
Correct. Why? What were they celebrating? What was Achashverosh celebrating? Why did he have vessels and utensils of the temple? Because based on the calculations of the 70-year period between the first and second temples, they should have been on their way back to Israel to build the second holy temple. They were off by 1 year. So Achashverosh was celebrating. Your prophecy is wrong. It's not adding up. We keep on bumping into this thing of it's not working out based on what I think it should be, based on the times that we're dictated that it should be. We keep on doing this. And parts of a core essential value of Judaism is understanding that I'm in this world to kind of take my watch and lechaven it.
To set
it to God's time. God, you give every person what they need when they need it. And it keeps on popping up. The sin of the golden calf explains to us what the word sin in Hebrew means. The word for sin in Hebrew doesn't mean sin. Chet means lehachti. I missed the mark. When you're shooting hoops, you're saying, cheteti, I missed. Like when I first made Aliyah, I'm on the court, and people are saying, oh man, I kept on thinking, they're saying, oh man, I sinned. I almost did. I'm like, you didn't sin, you just missed the shot. Right? Missing like a shot is called a hachta'a, but the Baal Shem Tov, the founder of the Hasidic movement, says, you meant right, but you missed the mark.
Right.
And they meant right.
Right. This is a very interesting point that really Judaism kind of reflects back on this story of the golden calf and says they actually wanted to serve God.
No doubt.
They wanted to serve God. A lot of times I explain to non-Jewish friends, that we don't have in a synagogue, we don't have our statues, we don't have anything like that. But we do have something. We do have a focus of prayer. That's the Aron Kodesh. That's the Ark of the Covenant. And inside there is the Torah. So it's not like we're totally aphysical. Like the Muslims took it to a very,
Correct.
There should be nothing. But we have something. We have a focal point, right? They wanted a focal point. At the same time, a golden calf, that's your focal point?
Well, that's where it gets really trippy. Why Dafka, the Egel, and later on we see the red heifer comes to atone for this thing of a golden calf. They didn't know what was going to be. They wanted what you said. They wanted a god. the language, I think, in the Psukim says "Kuma selanu Elokim," like
Right.
make first. They actually really wanted, but I think that based on the way it came out to be, is God showed them when you're attached to your animalistic need of needing things to happen on your watch, you're going to create an animal.
Right. I make it as a joke, but I say this is the proof in the Torah that being a yeki is a problem. Okay, and like, well, a yeki is
Nachon.
like, look, that's it. Moses is not here. Forget it. But a chassid would have been like, let's have a l'chaim. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No,
that's
and I
it.
say that as a joke, of course. But
My father used to say yeke. He still says yeke.
yeki means German Jewish.
Right, yeke means Yehudi kshe havana. It's a Jew that has a hard time understanding that things don't work on his time. But that's what, it's interesting. That's really
Right.
what this is.
That's right. That's right.
Nachon. So I think that's an animalistic need. It's a beastly need of now. Now, look what happens with that need. You create a bull.
Right.
You create an ego.
Right. One time for your synagogue, Shirat David, here in Efrat, which is being built right now. And
Last few moments.
few moments, and people can still join
Oh, yeah.
to help build it right now.
Yes.
How do they do that?
ShiratDavid.org.
Shirat David, the Song of David, here overlooking Bethlehem in Beit Lechem Ephrata, shiratdavid.org. Synagogue is being built right now here in the land of Israel, but this is not a synagogue. That is not
It's a sin.
that's achta'ah. Okay, that's not the right word. This is a house of prayer and a congregation and a light, and everybody in the Gush Etzion in this region knows that, and you could be part of building it right now. Maybe that's this week's way to fix the sin of the golden calf. Let's build the house of prayer.
You should go into fundraising.
I love fundraising. I told you.
We spoke about it.
Fundraising is the best because fundraising is beautiful. Fundraising is helping people be part of the story, and your story being together built with brothers and sisters. One time when you were not here, you asked me to speak Friday night. One of the things I talked about is that really Moses and Aaron were a duo. Moses was the man of God, i.e. man of truth, and the midah, the characteristic trait of truth. Aaron was the diplomat. He was the people's person. And one of the sins here was not the sin of the people. This is my explanation, which is it's the sin of the splitting of these two forces. Moses went up to get truth, but Aaron was left with only diplomacy without truth to back him up. And the people were like, we want this. Well, he was a person who wanted to give people what they wanted. Right. And truth, and they said, truth is all the way up there. It's not down here with us. We're the rabble. We're the people. We want this thing right now. And the split of those two characteristic traits left them in a lurch. And that's the sin. Never split up truth with love and diplomacy and the
chesed for today. Wow. What a blessing.
So, but still, though, Moses does go up to Mount Sinai a second time. And he does what he does. He brings down the second 10 commandments. Great. Crisis averted, okay? There's the Shivrei Luchot, there's the broken pieces, but we still need the real ones. And the whole Torah and so much of society needs these 10 commandments. And that would have been enough. But the Torah in Parshat Kitisa ends with yet another chapter. And that is the Moses face glowing. You know, Rabbi Shlomo, I have not seen a lot of art, Jewish art, that depicts this. In a sense, it's non-depictable. It's meant to be a little bit ineffable. It is a vision. And one of the books, the Shlomo Carlebach books, we call it in the house the Red Book, the Lamed Vav Tzadikim, we call it the Red Book.
I love that one.
It's maybe one of the greatest Shlomo books.
Lamed Vav.
Lamed Vav. Everybody should have that in their
best.
house, and everybody will cry for having this. So he talks about, there's a story there about the knife of Abraham. Abraham's knife. And the rabbi, I don't remember which rabbi it was, one of the Hasidic masters, was shaking just to see the knife of Abraham that this, Elijah the prophet had. The head of the 36 hidden righteous men. I want to ask you, what is it to see Moses' glowing face? What is it to stand at the foot of Mount Sinai and to see Moses come down with the second Luchot and to see this man, this Moses, who is a man of flesh and blood, born of a mother, and yet to see that for some reason his skin glowed. Why did his skin glow? What's the message there? And what is it? Can we imagine for a second what it is to see that face of Moses as he comes down from Sinai?
Wow, the imagery right now, the visualization is so intense as you illustrated it. I think we get a lot of help to kind of sense that with what the Torah tells us about not just what he looked like, but what he was feeling. He had no idea. Lo yada. He didn't even know.
Wow.
He saw the reaction. He's like, oh my God, I have to, he didn't even know. My children, we have a beautiful, if I'm proud of like one thing of the chinuch, of the education of our children, is that my children are in awe of soldiers. Mm-hmm. When we go to the checkpoints here, every time, they're always like, Abba, chayalim. So it's like, wow, we're in the presence of soldiers. What's a soldier? What's the holiness of a soldier? Is that I guarantee you that this is the truth, that they are completely unaware of their state of holiness. They just think they're doing what they have to do, but they're unaware. They're completely unaware of the height of how holy they truly, truly are. Someone that's aware of how holy they are, it's okay. It's okay to have an awareness, but when you really are unaware, that's what happened with Moshe Rabbeinu coming down from the mountain and people seeing him, and he doesn't even, the Torah tells us, he didn't even know. That's real holiness, when you're completely unaware of how holy you really are. I think that's, to me, what I take the most from that end of the parsha, the portion saying you can be on Mount Sinai, your Torah can say all these things about you, but if once you let it get to your head, you're out. It never got to Moses' head, ever. And that's why he's the epitome. He is Va'ish Moshe Anavmo Mikol Adam.
And what about the glow itself? What is that? His skin? And the Torah says, it's very important, he didn't have a halo,
no,
nor an aura.
Or panav.
The skin, and this, there's a phonetic double meaning here. Or is with an ayin, means skin, but it also means the light.
Could mean the light.
He was.
Right.
By the way, P.S., like, if I could fix something in history, I go talk to Michelangelo right now. I'd be like, bro. No. It wasn't horns. And I don't know who told you to do that or what. By the way, I have no idea how there's no way to mistranslate that.
Also, were the tablets actually the way that he,
I could live with that. My issue is the horns.
I get it. Yeah, we've suffered, yeah.
Look, like you did King David real good.
But Moses,
what happened
Did you ever get a horn comment on the road?
Yeah.
I got only one time.
Yeah, one time somebody said that to me. Or they said to me, like, I thought the Jews had horns when I was growing up. That type.
No,
of
they were being
very
very sincere. Right. I had that at Newark Airport once. Some guy said, "Can you lift up that beanie for a second? I want to see if it's true." And the guy was dead serious.
Okay, but he was not from New York, New Jersey.
No.
He must have been traveling through because in New York, New Jersey, you could wear your tallis and tefillin in the airport.
Hoboken.
Hoboken's New Jersey.
Sorry, not Hoboken. Poughkeepsie, I don't know, wherever, not a local, whatever.
No, because one of the beautiful things about New York, New Jersey, and I say this actually with in compliment, is that being a Jew there is normal. Like, you could put on your tallis tefillin in the middle of a train station or whatever it is, and people are like,
so bizarre.
Yeah,
that's what they do.
I know what a Jew is.
Yeah.
I know what a Jew is. I actually think that's a good thing. I think there's something nice about that. But still,
okay, going back to what you said,
I'm asking you again, like, why does he? What is this thing? What? How are we supposed to finish this parsha? What is a kid supposed to understand this? What?
I don't know about a kid, but we have to go back to the Garden of Eden.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing that man and Eve became aware of after they sinned was that they were naked. Mm-hmm. The Torah says is that that they're kutnot or they're help me out here.
God made for them these like garments made of skin.
Right. To cover because of busha, because of embarrassment. Mm-hmm. Here it's almost like
leather garments.
So to speak.
Right.
Here it seems to be that there's this tikkun, there's a fixing over here of what's going on here, that Moses was able to bring out 13 attributes of mercy, bringing about a fixing of something that was waiting to be fixed from the Garden of Eden, of busha. Of what's the best word for busha besides embarrassment? It's Shame. There was a big shame.
Right.
He felt shame. If I'm the shepherd of such people, what kind of a leader am I?
Just parenthetically, is that there is a shame written into this Torah portion, a few of them, but one of them is take off the crowns. You had these crowns, these spiritual crowns. Take them off. You don't deserve to wear them. Right.
So, exactly. There's a lot of shame. It seems that there's like a shleimut. There's like a completion of a picture here where I don't know exactly what to make more out of it other than that brings a certain glow that's almost otherworldly that people don't have vessels to even contain in this world. And that's what was happening. There was a glow that people couldn't even contain, human beings couldn't contain. And he didn't even know about it. So I'm thinking here there's a bigger picture of fixing something that's been waiting to be fixed with the or, with the skin from a long time ago. And also one more thing. It says Kikaran or Panav. Or is skin. That's something on the outside. Panav is always an allusion to pnima. His inside and his outside were one. That a person that's inside, we say toho keboro. When you're outside is like you're inside, you're a shining.
That is a beautiful teaching. I love it. Panav is in, pnim.
Pnim, and or is what you see on the outside.
Right. So his insides were like his outsides, and that's shown. I think that's a great teaching for us. Now, I try to get you to evoke the image of a light, but there's something about that which is a broadcast. It's a beam, and there's no way for me in this medium to express that image in a visual sense.
Right.
But I'm going to have to latkil otcha here to surprise you and ask you, and I say there is another way that I have a power today, and you have the power to give that broadcast out to people, and that's through music. And this guitar has been winking at me. It's bugging me the whole time because you have a rabbinic study here, and yet it's not even on a stand. It's literally leaning like as though you do it. So can we do one short tiny thing for? Are you kidding me? For us, let me have your mic over here.
Any choice?
It's you, man. It's all you. You know what? The only thing I could say to you is Moses' face and Adar. It's over Zion Adar recently.
Okay. This is a song of Adar. ונהפוך נהפוכו ונהפוך נהפוכו ונהפוך נהפוכו נהפוך נהפוכו ונהפוך הפוכו ונהפוך נהפוכו ונהפוך נהפוכו נהפוך נהפוכו דידי-די-די-די-די-די דידי-די-די-די-די
The vibrations of the guitar, real guitar. There's something to that. I feel like in Mount Sinai, you felt the vibe. It was like being at an awesome concert, and you just felt it. And that's what when I finish that parsha, I think to myself, that's that light. That's like, wow. I was touched. Wow. It touched me. It touched me. In truth, the Torah then tells you that he would take off the mask when he would teach, and then he would put it back on. So you had to deal with it. And it touched you, that light. And if you let yourself, the Torah contains that light. Yeah. And you open that book, it's supposed to shine out at you. You're supposed to feel that feeling. You just gave us that feeling. Rabbi Shlomo Katz. Last thoughts.
Shabbos. I think Shabbos gives that light too. Shabbat gives that light. And that's why the last thing we learned before the sin of the golden calf is Shabbos. And the first thing we learn again after the sin of the golden calf is Shabbos next week, and I think that's luchos v'shivrei luchos. There are people that live in the world with a brokenness because they thought they should have done better. Don't worry, Shabbos comes again. Mm-hmm. Shabbos, just lift up your head. Last thought. I'm sorry. It's just I remember this right now. The parsha is called Kitisa. Lift up your rosh, right? So in Hasidic thought, they say, a Jew's secret is the ability that no matter what happened during the mundane, during the weekday, to still go into the world of Shabbos. By how? By lifting up your head. How do we know? Take the word head in Hebrew, Rosh. Lift it up each by one letter in the Hebrew alphabet. Reish becomes Shin. Aleph becomes Bet. Shin becomes
Tough.
Shabbos.
Wow.
Rosh becomes Shabbos.
If you lift it up.
If you lift it up.
Wow.
Chazak.
That's a good one.
Rabbi Tzvi Elimelech of Dino of the Bnei Yisachar.
Wow.
One of my favorites.
Wow, that's
a go-to. Yes. Yishai, I want to say you have a Shabbos Dika glow during the week too. You don't know. I've never really. One time I caught you a few weeks ago. The head was, I don't know if it was up, it was in deep contemplation. It was early in the morning. I don't know what was going on. But generally speaking, your head's lifted and you cause other people to lift their heads. I want to give everyone here a blessing to be able to be open to just to continue to receive and give you koach to keep on going for many more years.
God bless you, Rabbi Shlomo Katz, author and
Friend.
rabbi, friend.
And
rabbi of Shirat David, which is a synagogue being built as we speak. If you want to take one little step before this Shabbos to help build the land of Israel, and we give you options in the show a lot of times to help build the land of Israel, but today it's shiratdavid.org. You go there, and I promise you it is one of the most beautiful Batei Knesset, houses of prayers you've ever seen, and it overlooks both the fields of Judea where King David frolicked and walked and thought about God, and then further on, facing right towards the third temple in Jerusalem, and it is just an incredible, and the music and the Torah that comes out of here is awesome. Being a sponsor is a great opportunity. shiratdavid.org. Rabbi Shlomo Katz, thanks so much. Shabbat Shalom. All right, folks, and we are back here on the Yishai Fleisher Show. Thank you very much, Rabbi Shlomo Katz. Boy, was that inspiring. He is an inspiring person. Thank God. I'm inspired by you out there, and I want you to write me an email, yishai@yishaifleisher.com. I also want to thank Yocheved Seidman, Moshe Herman, Ben Bresky, Tabitha, and Lou for getting the show out. And Yocheved has also started a project of getting the show out onto YouTube. So if you are listening on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, click the bell to be updated when we put up new videos. So thank you very much. And thank you to all the sponsors of the show. We talked about them earlier, but just a quick reminder, Prohibition Pickle, making this show more pickly and delicious. We love their Shabbat salami treats and others. It's just that I like salami. Other people talk about herring, but I talk about salami. Okay? Yeah, call me a simpleton if you need to, okay? If that's what makes you happy. If you need to feel better about yourself by laughing at my, like of vodka and salami on Shabbos, fine. And I want to thank the good folks at jewishpress.com, jns.org. Of course, the Hebron family is strengthened through your support, hebronfund.org. And, of course, my personal site, which is yishaifleisher.com. And we are fighting for beautification of some parts of Hebron that we can touch, which is the tomb of Yishai and Ruth, and also the Spring of Abraham, which we're working on. So you can donate to that by going to yishaifleisher.com and go to the donate page, or just a little bit of a coffee. And I've had a coffee today, but I could use another coffee right now, and I'll get one, a real coffee. But you can support through going to buymeacoffee.com/Yishai. Now, I would do table Torah right now, but the truth is I think the best things were already said in the last half of the show with Rabbi Shlomo. So I just want to say kind of parting thoughts, which is it's been a busy week. It's really been a busy week. I've been at the Knesset. I've been purchasing beautification stuff. I'm working on the 7 cities, Israel Biblical Highway, the 7 holy cities and the Israel Biblical Highway. John Voight is coming to town. Lots of stuff is happening. Just like, whoa, just a lot of stuff. And on top of that, last night, I was asked to speak to a group of Israeli Arabs, Israeli Druze, Lebanese Christian Israelis, and Bedouin Arabs, Bedouin Israelis. And this is part of a group called Reservists on Duty. And they have these incredible Israeli and pro-Israeli young people out there going to do Israeli Hasbara, explaining how they are really part of the Israeli society and how they're proud to be part of the Israeli society. And I came to speak there for them to talk about some of the ways that I do Hasbara, how I understand it, how I understand fighting for Israel's narrative. Let's call it the Israel narrative, shall we? Forget, you know what? We're done with the word Hasbara. Done with it. It's gone. It's deleted from the lexicon. I don't even know what you're talking about. The Israel narrative. The Israel narrative. They are fighting for the Israel narrative. And there are so many forces out there that are fighting against, including Amnesty, etc. So I gave it to them so straight. I told them Israel is an ethnic national state, and there are minorities that we want to see successful here. But they have to be loyal to the Jewish state. And then we talked about the concept of a national state. We talked about what I call the 3 pillars, which is a longer talk. Maybe I've already mentioned it on the show, but basically Israel stands on 3 pillars. One is Bible, history, archaeology that proves the Bible, and international law that recognizes Jewish history. In other words, rights of indigeneity of the Jewish people to the land of Israel. That's one pillar. The Bible, indigeneity, recognition of such, archaeology. Another pillar is the second pillar, which is nation state. Nation state is a good thing. And that I find that I actually have to explain that more than anything, because people don't know anymore that a nation state is a beautiful thing. Ancient peoples living in their ancestral land, doing it the old way, something very beautiful about that. And finally, that Israel is the Middle East. And this is maybe the part that they understood so easily. I said to them, when you hear Israelis say, I'm willing to give up half of Jerusalem for peace, what does that really sound like to you? And they said immediately, because they're Arabs, proud Arab Israelis, they said, yeah, it sounds ridiculous. You sound like a weak and dishonorable. Dishonorable. I've been saying this for many years. Honor is the real language of the Middle East. And if you don't know the language of honor and of God and of history and of demanding, then you are, how should I say, dishonorable. And so it's very important to speak in this way. And we talked about how being a Middle Easterner, speaking in such a way, and not speaking like a Westerner, speaking like a Middle Easterner. Land is important. Honor is important. Not seeming weak is important. And I had a ball speaking with them. Of course, the guy who hooked it up was Yishai Muhammad. Maybe you remember him, Yahya. He's a great spokesman for the Arab world. Sadly, the bullies, of course, reject him. That's the other problem in the Arab world, which is the bullies. The bullies are the ones that control the ground because of their viciousness, because of their violence, because they're cutthroat, figuratively and literally as well. So that was amazing, but it gave me a lot of hope. And I spoke to them, and I said to them, Ayman Ouda, the head of the Joint List, he's your enemy. And they're like, that's right. He doesn't want normalization. He doesn't want you guys to have a decent life. He wants you to be in an endless war. Now, I would put on my whole talk because I recorded everything, but it was in Hebrew. A little bit of English, a little bit of Arabic. We had a lot of fun over there. But it still gave me hope that there are young people, and I met some excellent young people who I think are going to be a great way forward for the future. Of course, within the Jewish state. Yes, young Arabs, part of the Israeli nation in the Jewish state. How does that work? Because there are other peoples that join your nation. They join your nation. They are minorities that live within your nation. They may not necessarily have your language and have all of your exact religion. But they're part of your nation. The real way is that minorities that live in Israel should accept also the God of Israel and serve the God of Israel. But okay, we're taking it one step at a time. But these people want to be part of the Israeli nation and be pro-Israel, not there to use cynically democracy to destroy the Jewish state from within. And we, of course, should not allow that. In any case, folks, God bless you and stay strong, stay tuned, stay connected wherever you are. Lots of love and lots of blessings from the land of blessings. Thank you for your emails, your kindness, and sharing your life with me and me sharing my life with you. And I want you to pray for me because I got a lot going on and I don't want to make any mistakes. And I'm sure you do as well, so I pray for you as well. Let's pray for each other and give each other strength. Thank you, Hashem, for every single moment and every single breath and every single opportunity of being alive. Thank you for helping me hear that great song that Shlomo sang right there. It was just me and him in a room, and his guitar and his voice. It was fabulous. Thank you, Hashem. May we really see Har Sinai, Mount Sinai. May we carry around our broken our broken tablets, but really paved the way for the renewed and rebuilt tablets. We've had 2 temples that have destroyed. We're in the pathway. We're on track. We're in position. We're on the trajectory for the 3rd temple. B'ezrat Hashem, may it be soon. May it be speedily. And may we have the honor of taking even a small step in being part of it. Thank you, Hashem, for everything. Thank you, good folks. Thank you, crew that makes the show happen. Lots of love, lots of blessings from the land of blessings. And shalom.